Australian made and owned, Hi-Tec Oils is one of the largest oil blenders in Australia with a truly national profile, supplying an extensive range of oils, coolant, grease, batteries and much more for all businesses and consumer needs. Choose Hi-Tec Oils for peace of mind.
The Hi-Tec Drift Allstars are back for round 4 at Calder Park Raceway. I'm Dave Carter, and joining me up in the commentary booth is Jake Kennedy. Mate, has there been some killer driving throughout practice?
Mate, the boys today have absolutely been killing it out there with the weather, on and off, raining. The battles are just going to be crazy. If this weather sticks out, we're going to have some close battles with this one.
Not only the weather, but through this infield section, it's been called the Festival of Walls. This inner section is just so dangerous, having to run close to those barriers, and that's exactly where the judges want to see the cars, with a lot of outside clips through there. But both the Pro and the Pro-Am seem to be getting a handle of this track regardless of conditions, coming down off that bank and through a very technical section. But first, let's have a run through the championship points, with Beau Yates way out in front with a 91-point lead over Matt Van Kirk, the international down under for America in Formula Drift. We've also got Aaron Duas, Scott Shembry and Mo Hooley rounding out your top 5. But every driver in this quality field will be battling for points. Let's hear from a couple of them now.
International drivers Matt Van Kirk and Chuck Geary making their way to Calder Park for this round of the Hi-Tec Drifting Australia Series. And Matt, this is not your first time. You're coming runner-up in the championship so far. How is it to be a part of this massive series?
Oh, I absolutely love it. Big thanks to George for bringing me down and doing the series here. We're, like you said, second in the championship. Good with all the top guys in Australia. Beau Yates is a pretty big lead ahead of me right currently. But we're gonna come here. We brought Chuck down. We're gonna give Beau everything we got. So hopefully we could knock him down on some points off the board and start climbing our way up to the top.
I mean, anything can happen in drifting, right? I mean, people have been out here Friday, now Saturday, putting a lot of miles on the car. So, you know, I need to go through the practice, qualifying, and into the battles to ensure that I can still maintain that gap. But definitely want to assert my authority down pit lane as well and show these guys that, you know, we're here to race and we are where we are because we deserve it. So we'll be pushing hard this weekend.
Yeah, obviously I'm delighted to be here. I've had a great week so far with my boy Matt. Great practice, loads of fun. Thanks to George and Hi-Tec and Running Hearts for bringing me out here. Yeah, like as I said, there's a massive following here because of the Barra. I don't think I would have been known otherwise, but so far I think I'm making a bit of a name for myself this weekend. So,
is that your only goal, just to go away with a few more fans, or are you looking to take you out a podium position?
I have two missions. One is to win, and the other is to take out Beau Yates for Matt.
Look, the car's been ultra reliable. Leading into the last couple of weekends, we've had a few little gremlins pop their heads up. We spun a rocker bolt out yesterday and thought that we were all over, but thankfully the Jawar family came to the party and helped us get it going again, which we're very thankful for. And look, I mean, we've got the car dialed now. We're happy with our grip, we're happy with the suspension setup, and we're ready to get on door.
Who are you most looking forward to battling today?
Look, I mean, basically the tree's a very exciting tree in itself. All of the drivers here are very capable and renowned drivers. I don't think there's anyone in particular that we want to face. I think every battle that we will see today will be a good one. And look, mate, we're just here to have a good time.
Best of luck, mate.
Thanks, Jared. Appreciate it.
The qualifying results are in, and Scott Shembry has leapfrogged our championship first and second in Beau Yates and Matt Van Kirk to secure himself pole position, which will put him in great stead for the battles to come. Scott's been getting the hang of the Hi-Tec Oils 350Z throughout the year, and it seems like he's finally cracked it. Let's hear from him now with J-Mac.
Here with Scott Shembry, one half of the Hi-Tec Oils Blaze unit, and you have to believe it, there's no better way to come back to Calder Park than taking out the top spot. Top qualifier, congratulations.
Thanks, mate. You know, it feels really good, not for myself, but the team. We've been working really hard this year with the 350. Every round we're changing things. I'm really happy with where it's at now, and obviously that shows with the qualifying run yesterday.
It looked like a trouble-stricken practice session, throwing the car off the track numerous times, but it all came together for that 2 perfect lap battle, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was just trying different things yesterday, pushing my limits, really trying to find how hard I could push in that entry. And just like you said, that first qualifying run, I felt so comfortable and it all came together.
Well, congratulations. We look forward to greatness.
Thanks, mate.
93 points is one killer qualifying run with only a few little things that the judges picked out. Let's hear exactly what they're looking for from head judge Dan Mackey.
Thanks, guys. So this is what we're going to be looking for in the judges' booth today. As the guys exit the chicane to head off down the straight, we want to see a nice, solid entry up against the wall, against the signage that you can see up behind me over here. As they come back down through and off the wall, we're going to be looking for them to be nice and smooth. No wheel corrections down through that section into there, close to the white line. We're allowing just 300 mil for the rear tyre to be off that white line as they come around, and then eventually onto the outside clipping point, which is over on the near the judging tower over there. Once they leave that clipping point, that's where it really gets quite technical for the drivers. They're allowed to transition a little bit late to get out to our rear zone, which again is just over here behind me. The lead driver must get out to that zone. It is critical they do that. The chase driver is allowed to gain some proximity by chasing in and just getting up onto their door, aiming at that front wheel. If they do that correctly from a little bit further back, they'll be able to sit into the pocket as they come through this nice section here, which is a lovely smooth arc around through 2 more clips and across the finish line. If they are close enough though, we have asked the drivers to continue to sit in that pocket and demonstrate that they are using good speed. Key for us is to make sure they don't have any wheel drops. Also to ensure that they are right up on that pocket. This is a slowing down circuit, so we're looking for them to maintain and increase that proximity as they get all the way through the section. And also, of course, to make sure that they do not bring any wheels across the lines, particularly in the chase position over here. Drivers that are closing drivers out in this section will be heavily deducted, as they will in the first corner. So the line is very much key for this round, as will be the chase if you're in that position.
So there's the judge these drivers need to impress, along with James Dean Martle and Dan Keneally up in the judging booth. A killer top 16 ahead of us, James.
I can't wait. We've got Matt Van Kirk versus Patrick Barley, the guy from US, all the way battling our Northern Territory resident. Like, this is one not to be missed.
Another international here as well is Chuck Geary, who in the top 16 is going to be going up against one of the best this country has to offer in James Abbott. On screen now, you can see Scott Shembry leading in that Hi-Tec 350Z, but heartbreak for our top qualifier, who seemed to have a bit of an understeer moment there and come to a stop with Brad Toohey contacting him in the chase. Man, is it slippery out there, Jake.
Man, this weather, is, as we said, is all the way up and down. These boys have got to battle it hard, and as we can see, the conditions have changed yet again halfway through a battle.
Shembry having some traction issues early on, but then blazing on the last section as we see the replay now. Brad Toohey was right there with him, but I'm not quite sure what's happened with the 350Z there. He's tried to turn it back in and hasn't quite got the handle on it. So that's a bit of an advantage there for Brad Toohey, but Shembry's going to be keen to chase back down and see what he can do to defend his top qualifying position. So tight on the entry there behind Toohey. Toohey having a little bit of a bobble there, but then pulling away from Scott Shembry as the Master Chef blazes away on that wet track surface. Both cars transitioning together there through this tight section at the end. It's just so slick out there, and the rain almost looks like hail.
It'll be so interesting to see how the judges look at that hit there and see where they go.
Riding on board there, it's pretty clear that Scott Shembry did contact Brad Toohey quite hard. Toohey managing to hold on to it and getting the win there, I'd imagine, as a result of the earlier straighten and balked entry from Scott Shembry. Anyway, into the next battle now, we have James Abbott leading Chuck Geary, who's headed wide there in the borrowed Running Hearts DC S13.
Unfortunately, losing another front bar there, and looks like he's given a bit of clearer advantage to James Abbott, who's setting the line and absolutely nailing these clipping points which the judges are looking for.
Chuck Geary, though, really tidy through the last bit of that run there. Unfortunately, the mistake early on is going to be very harshly looked upon by the judges, where we see Chuck just going that little bit wide, clipping the rear bar on the cone there in the wall and running outside the judge section and over the white line. So that's going to be a big mistake for Chuck. Chuck Geary now getting the opportunity to lead all the way down under from Ireland, and a neat entry there up on that slippery slope that is the Calder Park bank, coming through the inside here. He's right out to that outside line. James Abbott doing everything he can to reel that Irishman back in.
And it's good to see the Irishman in his natural habitat in the wet. He's undefeated all the way from the Irish Drift Championship. Look at him go all the way, setting a clean line right through that final section in front of James Abbott.
Man, Chuck nailed these final few clips, just separating the rear bar, and then again the lightest tap there, which is exactly where the judges want to see these cars. Very aggressive entry there from Adam Monk in the chase behind Michael Bonney, who finds that barrier beautifully there on the outside clip. A great lead run from Michael Bonney, but Adam Monk still aggressive in the chase, but just having a mistake there through that last hairpin and then over-rotating across the line, which will hurt him.
Coming in with that massive entry right on the door there of Michael Bonney, we can see sets himself up nicely through this clipping zone, but Michael Bonney dialing it right in, pushing it right to the outside again, giving himself that beautiful gap right there through that clipping zone, and again, no bobbles from him all the way over that finish line.
Switching them around now, and it's Michael Bonney's turn to chase, while Adam Monk nails that line there just a little bit shallow, and then out to that barrier. Anything but a touch there. It was a nice line coming through this section here. Bonney just playing it conservative, knowing that Monk did have a few mistakes in the chase, but there is another mistake from Bonney, so this one is going to go down to the line with the judges.
Coming through here, we can see right through to that outer clipping zone. This wet course is catching them out by hand, and again, that transition nice and slow by both the boys, putting themselves on the line, and looking like Michael Bonney's taking the win.
Next cabs off the rank are Finney O'Hare and Mo El Hooley. Finney just on his lead line there, a little bit far off the wall for that outside clip that the judges wanted to see, but going nice and deep there in the wet conditions. That's a ballsy move from Finney. But Mo El Hooley all over the back of him in that Garage Works Turbo LS S13. Nice and tight through the final section there, but both drivers, fantastic proximity to that outside barrier on the final clip.
With the replay here with Finney O'Hare in the lead, as we can see, off that undulating hill straight through to that outside clipping point, putting it right through to the wall. Big dive there from Mo O'Hooley, absolutely killer shot there. Right through to the outside zone, flags absolutely waving off both the back of those cars. This is one for the judges to call.
You could see the experience from Moe there, just reeling in Finney throughout the run instead of going too tight on the entry. Speaking about tight on the entry there, Finney trying to come in as close as he could to the door of Mo El Hooley, but just overcooking it slightly and throwing himself into a spin. So Mo getting to go through unopposed here, but still right out to the track edge, right out to the outside clip, hand out the window, giving it the limmy finger as he nearly taps that barrier there. What a run from Mo El Hooley.
So as we can see in the replay here, the pressure applied to Finney O'Hare with Mo's lead runners causing him to spin out. That's given him the win. Win all the way through for Mo El Hooley.
Battle of the big JZs here as Beau Yates leads Angus Kidd in that Game On Motorsport Supra. Big angle from both drivers coming down off the bank here, and will Beau go out that outside clip? Yes, he does, as Angus Kidd over-rotates slightly, tapping the rear bar on that outside clip and washing off a lot of speed. So that Supra has speed to spare, reeling in what is one of the quickest cars in the field in the Toyota Genuine Parts 8.6.
As we can see from the replay here, the boys absolutely struggling with the rain here. Beau Yates dragging Angus Kidd right out to that outer clipping zone, and looks like he's lost complete grip, putting that rear end of that Supra right up to the wall there. But again, Beau Yates saying his natural class all the way through to the outer clipping zone.
Beautiful line there from Angus, right on the outside of the track edge there. Beau emulating nicely, leaving a bit of a gap from that Game On Motorsport Supra and getting ready to reel him in as they head through this patchy infield section. All over the rear quarter of Angus Kidd there. That's a nice chase from Beau.
With the replay here, we can see Angus Kidd setting a nice lead on, but Beau Yates absolutely schooling him in the chase run here, right through to the outside clipping zone. And again, looks like the chase run there is what's given Beau Yates the win. Calder O'Hooley here in the lead, right through to the outside clip. Mitchell Dorr dialing it in off that undulating clip zone, right through on the brakes there, right behind both LS-powered cars, absolutely slaying through that middle zone. And again, we can see Calder O'Hooley schooling him right through that outside zone, getting it right up onto that judge line, and the judges are absolutely looking for clipping points like that.
Right here, we can see almost a repeat of what happened to Angus Kidd as Mitch Doyle just over-rotates slightly in what must be a very slippery section right near the outside clip as the cars come down off the bank. Let's turn him around with Mitch Doyle now leading Cooter Hooley, and a lot of angle there from Mitch Doyle in the lead. Let's see if he maintains that speed. Yes, much nicer through that outside clipping zone, but unable to shake Cooter Hooley, who's right there with him in the chase. I've got to say though, Mitch Doyle in the lead there, so stylish, heaps more angle and a lot more speed.
Mitch Doyle's been dialing in these lead killer angles all the way through today. As we can see, he's pushing it right out to that outside clip zone again. Big switch back there and massive angle right to that outside zone, going right through to that final draw, all the way through, giving it the call of a one more time.
Mitch Doyle over-rotating, Cooter under-rotating, but then both drivers tidying it up through the last section of this course. What a chase from Mitch Doyle, but only allowed by a beautiful lead from Cooter.
As we can see from the replay here, Cooter absolutely dialing it in that entry point, and then a big straight in there, which looks like it would have caused him a few points in loss there. But again, dialing it back in with Mitchell Doyle in the chase, right through to that final clipping zone, right back up onto the door.
Spinning them around now with Mitch Doyle getting his second lead run as Cooter Hooley runs shallow off the bank there, straightening slightly through the infield. And then Mitch Doyle, nicely done on that lead run there, just leaving Cooter behind. I'd say that's an advantage, Jake.
Yes, as we can see from the replay here, pushing it right through to that outer clipping zone. Nice little inboard there of Cooter. But again, as we can see, that clipping zone absolutely dialed in the rear of that car. Looks like that's what handed him the win there to Mitchell Doyle in that one more time.
Patrick Barley now chasing Matt Van Kirk, and a bit of contact there with Matt Van Kirk then straightening, but Patrick Barley staying on the loud pedal, knowing that he needs to get all the points he can to try and get through this top 16 battle against Matt Van Kirk, who's currently second in the championship. Unfortunately, straightening a few times throughout that run, Jay.
So here we are taking a closer look at that hit there from Patrick Barley on the inside of Matt Van Kirk, and as we can see, it unsettled that car quite a lot, and the judges will be deliberating hard against that to see if that's caused the judge line to be missed, all on that behalf.
It will be decided on both parts of this battle, though. An upset for Patrick Barley has run through the mud on the outside of the track there. Hasn't let it unsettle him, though. He stayed on that power once more, coming through all the other clipping zones, but two wheels crossing into the dirt is going to hurt him.
Yeah, and it's good to see that Patrick Barley's not too shy in his car now, coming to the pointy end of the season. He's been babying it around and looks like he's found his form here, as we can see from this killer lead run. Absolutely slaying it right out there to the outer clipping zone. And Matt Van Kirk not shy again in a borrowed car.
We struggled to split him, so did the judges. Let's run him again with Matt Van Kirk now leading Patrick Barley for the second time. Patrick knows it is critical here, all over the back of Matt Van Kirk, who again seems to just struggle with the patchiness of these conditions, straightening through that final hairpin.
Yeah, we can see that the pressure looks like it's getting to Matt Van Kirk with these one more times happening all the way through, and it looks like Patrick Barley's found his form all over the back of that R32, and even bettering the line through that final clipping zone, absolutely showing the judges that he's not one to be messed with today.
Patrick Barley in the lead now, going up that bank, while Matt Van Kirk a touch shallow there, staying into it though. Patrick Barley just off the power slightly when he knew he was running wide, which has allowed Matt Van Kirk to reel him back in. Now the judges have said that the chase driver is allowed to go that little bit shallower on the last hairpin there, as Matt Van Kirk did, so this is going to be a hard one to call.
Yeah, the judges will be looking at that there, because that looks like it caused Matt Van Kirk to take a shallower line, all because of the way that he attacked that second clipping zone. But again, Matt Van Kirk dialing it right back into that outer clipping zone and pushing right hard again.
Judges struggling to split him again, so the third battle between this pair in the third set of weather conditions. Look to be raining there and slippery again, with Matt Van Kirk into a spin, with Patrick Barley contacting him lightly, but enough to rip the front bar off that AB Racing S13.
Looks like it's a battle of the push crew here. Again, back into the replay here, we can see that the bobble there from Matt Van Kirk has caused Patrick Barley to take a wide line and absolutely take it off-road there with a mud steer, and then that causing that accident right there and pushing him right to the back zone.
How crazy that Patrick Barley stayed on the power with mud all over the windscreen there. Still managed to avoid what could have been a much bigger accident. As they turn around, the track has dried out yet again, and it looks like Patrick Barley potentially losing power there with the car straightening. He's touching the pedal, maybe a snapped accelerator cable, because he's bouncing that pedal up and down. The car sounds like it's still running, but unable to move under its own power. Let's see that again as Patrick Barley leads with Matt Van Kirk right behind him. And he's come down off the bank. Looks like Patrick Barley's giving it a quick pedal, and that's where the accelerator cable's let go. We're going to head down to the pits quickly with J-Mac.
Looking at the broken throttle cable here, this is what brought Patrick Barley undone. I don't know if you can spot it now, but that was essentially tucked through a bolt with a hole drilled through it, and unfortunately it's just come loose right at the very worst opportunity. This is all it takes. Sometimes these component failures can make or break your entire event. These guys are thrashing, and luckily they had the inventory of spares on hand to be able to get this machine buttoned up and ready to go, and it looks like they are deadly close.
Lucky for Patrick Barley, his team are frantically repairing that car because the judges have decided that it will be Patrick Barley going through to the top 8 out of those battles. On to the next battle now. We have Aaron Dewar borrowing Angus Kidd's Game On Motorsport Supra, chasing down Matt Grice in that VK Commodore with the Turbo LS under the bonnet. Man, does this car torch, and Matt Grice been driving so well throughout the season in both Pro and Pro-Am, laying down a killer lead run there, but Dabs getting the hang of that Supra so quickly. Couldn't be any more different to his S14.
Yeah, it's good to see Dabs there dialing it in a car that's just he's had one lap in, and it's good to see Matt Grice stepping up from the Pro into the Pro class and look like he's just done an amazing lead run there. The judges will be commending him on that one.
Yeah, big straighten from Aaron Dewar through the middle section means that it's all down to his lead run here. Quite aggressive through that river of water that keeps forming and disappearing as the weather changes out here. Matt Grice left a little bit behind there, but then coming in and contacting the Game On Motorsport Supra when Aaron Dewar potentially missed the gear or just got off the power a little bit early. But whatever the cause of that mistake, I believe that will be Matt Grice going through. But let's check out the replay.
What a pace he showed here in the early run, as we can see, right through to the outer zone, clicking gears as he comes off that switchback, right through to the outer zone there. And here, that's where we see the problem. Just comes to a complete stop, and Gricey had nowhere to go. And looks like the judges have deliberated and given the win straight through to Matt Grice. That's good for him in the Pro class coming all the way through.
So that's how our top 8 shapes up. Matt Grice, who we just saw, will be battling Patrick Barley, Beau Yates and Mitchell Doyle, Brad Toohey and James Abbott, and Michael Bonney up against his fellow Victorian, Mo El Hooley. We'll see this awesome field go head-to-head on the other side of the break, along with your famous insurance Pro-Am. Welcome back to round 4 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars down at Victoria's Calder Park Raceway with the big sloping bank and the Festival of Walls in the middle section there. We've just seen our top 16 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars Pro, and we're about to head into our famous insurance Pro-Am, where we'll see Flash Smith facing off against Steve Cerrone and Matt Grice up against Philip Silk.
That's crazy. And just to see the battles coming up from that Flash Smith all the way through to the top 4. Can't believe it's the first time he's come through the top 8. And it's good to see that he's coming up against Steven Cerrone. He's made a comeback for the rest of the season. This is one battle not to be missed.
And here it is for you now. Steve Cerrone leading Flash Smith, who already early in that run was bettering the line of Steve Cerrone by going right up to that bank. Staying into it there, very aggressive from Flash in the chase, tapping that rear bar of Steve Cerrone, but Steve won't let it go yet. He's going right out to that outside clip. Quite a nice run there from Steve Cerrone. You can see Flash is well and truly stoked, and that's justified, I reckon, Jake.
As you can see from here, Flash Smith pushing right through to that clipping zone, and again giving Steve Cerrone a bit of a nudge there, saying get up there and get through that last clipping zone, right back through to the top doorstep there, and again pushing it through the final line. The judges are going to be going nuts over this one.
Fantastic first battle, and we'll see them switch around now for Flash Smith's lead run with Steve Cerrone chasing. Flash just a little bit shallow there instead of going to the outside clip, but he's made that up with a fantastic line through the last section and dominating in terms of speed, pulling away from Steve Cerrone, who was just one step behind.
It's hard to see here, but Flash, as we can see, straight through that zone there, right onto the pedal, pushing power all the way through that S15, leaving Steven Cerrone right through that back zone, again into that outer clipping zone, absolutely blazing that S15 right through that, and as you can see, taking the win.
There's the result. Flash Smith getting through to a final battle. On to the next one now, and Philip Silk looks like he's come in just a bit too aggressive behind Matt Grice, sending himself into a spin while Gricey blazes away unchallenged through the final section of our course here.
It's good to see here. We got Matt Grice doing double duties in that car, and look, taking a little tap there from Phil Silk, but again, staying right through the power there, getting right to that outer zone, pushing it nice and deep.
Spin him around now. It's Phil Silk's turn to lead, and he's dropped a wheel on the outside there into the mud. Gricey just dabbing a little bit of handbrake there, giving Silky a bit of space to recompose himself, but diving in hard here through the last section and narrowly avoiding contact as a result of a mistake from Philip Silk in the lead.
And here we can see where Silky lost the battle here, handing the win to Matthew Grice.
That straight and really hurt him in the eyes of the judges, but here is our final. We have Flash Smith up against Matt Grice, with Steve Cerrone and Philip Silk still having a chance to go home with a trophy as they battle it out for third. All eyes will be on the final though, with Matt Grice defending a championship while Flash Smith gets his first chance at a final.
Matt Grice going into the battle for the win up against Flash Smith, and tell me, he's been on an absolute tear today. How do you rate your chances?
Sorry about that. Well, look, we're driving pretty well, fairly consistent. Look, the weather's up and down, the grip level out there, you come off there, sometimes it skates, sometimes it grips, it can throw you shallow. It's doing all sorts of crazy things, so we're just going to go out and do our best, hopefully we can grab that top spot.
Gricey getting 2 cuts at the cake here, now going into the top 8 of our Pro Series, where he'll face off against Patrick Barley. While Beau Yates and Mitch Doyle do battle, that's sure to be a hot one. Michael Bonney and Mo El Hooley, both locals who know the track back to front, and Brad Toohey and James Abbott, who we've seen go to head again and again, and we'll never be able to know which one will come out on top. Here we go.
Looks like a little bit of straight in there and a bobble from James Abbott, which has left the door wide open for Brad Toohey to dive straight up onto the inside. Pushing in both cars, finishing across that finish line, cooking right through.
James Abbott just getting off the power a little bit there, maybe not trying to head as wide into the outside clip there. Brad Toohey has reacted nicely to that and tightening up his chase position through the final section. Let's spin him around. James Abbott coming in keen as all over the back of Brad Toohey there, but after contact, pulling out of that chase run there. Big mistake from James Abbott as Brad Toohey goes through unopposed through this section here. But then James Abbott back on the power there and reeling Brad Toohey back in, but was it too little too late?
James Abbott with a big dive right up the back of Brad Toohey, taking the front of his car off there, not unsettling Brad Toohey too much so that he can continue on through the battle and giving himself a clear advantage against James Abbott through that last clipping zone. And as we can see, the judges have awarded the winner to go to Brad Toohey.
Pretty clear win there for Brad. Let's move on to the next battle with Michael Bonney leading Mo El Hooley. Now, these are 2 locals who know this layout pretty well in 2 extremely fast cars. So it's good to see they've both gotten a dry track here, which has been rare all day, and a killer drive by both.
What a chase run here by Mo El Hooley, dialing it in right from the second clipping point, right onto the back of that S15. Little bobble by Michael Bonney, which has caused Mo El Hooley to dive straight up into that clipping zone, right onto the back of that car, torching it through that final zone.
Man, both these things are so gripped up with so much power. As we ride on board with Michael Bonney, we can see there is still some mud on the inside of the track there, and I think a bit of mud under the fronts there may have unsettled him. This could be Mo's as we head through here. Will he put it together? Beautiful on the outside clip there as well.
What a dive by Michael Bonney, right up onto the inside, cutting himself a little bit short there. Looks like he's lost a bit of grip in that mud, with the track conditions changing every run for these guys. With the big power of that F15 and Michael Bonney diving straight up to the door of Mo El Hooley, pushing him over the finish line and looking like they're going to go to a one more time.
Michael Bonney leading again with Mo El Hooley a little bit behind there, but will he be able to reel him in? A touch shallow, bouncing the front wheels of that GarageWorks S13 off the ground. Bonney pluming smoke off the back of that C&D Motorworks S15. Huge angle and a lot of power through that last section, but Mo was with him.
Going through here, and we can see that Mo taking it quite the shallow line there behind Michael Bonney. Michael Bonney pushing it right to the outside there again. Big correction coming into that final zone, but again, dialing it in with the power and going straight across that line at 90 degrees.
Good spot there, Jake. The front wheels of Bonney's car did straighten slightly through that section after over-rotating into the entry. But Mo El Hooley coming through hard here in the lead. Bonnie is right there with him. Let's see as they come across the line here. Great angle there from Mo Hooley right out to the outside run. This is going to be such a hard one to call, Jake.
Looking from this view, we can see straight up into the door there of Mo Hooley. Not given an inch to get away. Straight through the transition there, and again, back onto the door. Smoke pouring off the back there. And the judges have awarded Michael Bonnie for the winner of those battles.
On to the next one now with Beau Yates facing off against Mitch Doyle all the way down from the NT in that supercharged LS S13. Man, is that a fast car, but so is the Toyota Genuine Parts 86 of Beau Yates. And look at the gap Beau was able to open just through that last hairpin there, Jake.
Inside run here with Mitchell Doyle. Look at the bump that he has to go through trying to chase down Beau Yates right through there. Again, back onto the door there, but look at the blaze come off the back of that Toyota Genuine Parts 86. Let's go down to J-Mac.
Mo Hooley, you've been an absolute soldier this weekend, mate. Doing it all for your home country. You had some pretty tough conditions thrown at you. I know there was a certain moment where you're like, man, this is absolutely stuff. We can't do this. But great conditions there for your battle against Bonnie. Run me through it. How was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. Bonnie's a strong driver, good competitor, tough car. So can't complain. It's been a weekend full of ups and downs, from blowing diff to blowing gearboxes. But this is drifting. This is what we're here for. We're here to raise the flag for the people, keep the Lebanese community in point. So congrats to Bonnie. Hopefully we'll come back better and better next time.
We're looking forward to it, mate. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
The Hooley brothers are aggressive drivers but have hearts of gold. Anyway, back into the action. Mitch Doyle now getting the opportunity to lead Beau Yates as we switch these drivers around. Doyle on the power hard, but Beau Yates is all over the back of that S13. That chase technique we've come to know and love. Beau is on fire.
He's been dialed in all day, and as we can see, right up onto the inside of Mitchell Doyle, not giving him an inch. Following every line, if not betting it, right through that first clipping zone, right through the smoke, straight up to the passenger door of that car, and again, pushing him over the line, and Beau Yates taking the win.
Huge result there. On to the next battle now. Matt Grice up against Patrick Barley, who is chasing Grice's VK Commodore in the lead. Beautiful on that outside clip there, just slightly tapping the wing on the back of that Commodore, again tapping it on the tyres and through that outside zone. Grice has got great control over that Commodore, but Patrick Barley right there with him.
Through this outer clip zone here, we can see dialed in right through there. Inside with Patrick Barley, dialing it in through the outer clipping zone, pushing it right hard up to Matthew Grice over the finish line. That's a close one to call.
Massive, but we will spin them around there. It looks like Patrick Barley taking 2 stabs at that entry there before then getting quite a nice line through the midfield. It's like Ricey might have gone a little bit deep onto that wall. The back of that Commodore crumpled in, but he stayed on the power, done his best to chase down Patrick Barley, who was gone after that mistake from Ricey.
Patrick Barley setting the pace here. Quick lead run by him. Quick adjustment there with a handbrake, pushing it through right out to the outer zone. Nothing left there for Matthew Grice in the basket after that wall tap.
And that finalises it for our top 4, where Patrick Barley goes through, knocking out Matthew Grice, so he will face off against Beau Yates, while on the other side of the top 4, it's Brad Toohey up against Michael Bonnie. But first, let's check out our famous Insurance Pro-Am battle for third, where Philip Silk is leading Steve Cerrone.
Steve Cerrone taking a nice outside line there, bettering the line of Philip Silk, but calling himself short there on that final zone as Silky polishes off that reset right through that finish line.
Both cars coming down off the bank nicely, a little bit far off that outside clip, but great emulation with Steve Cerrone right on the track edge there, and both drivers coming through into that outside clip there. As we see a little bit of rain that heavies as the position switch. Steve Cerrone going deep, Philip Silk going a bit shallow and over rotating. Oh no, that's a throwaway run for both these drivers, but the judges might look a little bit more harshly on it, as Steve Cerrone was the one setting the lead line while Philip Silk had to follow where he was going.
These conditions just getting tougher and tougher as the day comes, and we can see the rain. It's coming down sideways down there, and Cerrone finishing to set of tyres off. Looks like he knows he's packing it up and sending it home.
Yeah, it's a shame that he does get knocked out here, and we see he's coming hard and fast up against that wall, following a line that he would have pulled off in the drive, but it's just so unpredictable with wet, dry, sun, rain, hail, sleet, whatever you want. We're getting it crazy out here, and it's incredible to see how some of these drivers adapt to the circumstances. Here it is, our final for the Famous Insurance Pro-Am with Matt Grice leading Flash Smith in worsening conditions. This rain just keeps coming down, but Gricey more than finding that wall there, whereas Flash Smith beautifully handled out to the wall there. The wet pan warrior has learned well and is stepping up into this Pro-Am series, chasing so nicely behind Matt Grice there.
We can see Gricey setting some nice lead lines, but looking like he pushed it just way too hard in the wall there, just losing a little bit of car control. Unfortunately, these conditions are just absolutely worsening as the day goes on. Flash just bettering the line there through the final section as well and taking on what looks like an added advantage.
Nice entry from Flash there, but a bit of a strain through the middle, but nowhere near as big of a mistake as Gricey trying to tip it in the chase and ending up with a spin. So another advantage there, I would say, for Flash Smith, who's driven so well throughout this round so far, in his first final as well.
Yeah, it's good to see Flash finally making the finals here, and look, it's been a wet day for him, and as we get a big tip in there from Gricey, it's good to see him still having a little bit of fun. Just going through the replay here, and we can see Flash looking like he did not touch that first clipping zone, but again, not as big as a mistake as what Gricey had, and again, pushing through to the outer clipping zone, taking a bit of Gricey's bar up there into the sky, and finishing right across the wall there. Good to see Flash. Well done.
So there we have it, our Pro-Am points after round 4 with Brendan O'Grady out in front, but Matt Grice biting at his heels, trying to catch up there. Daniel Mesmer in third, who unfortunately wasn't able to drive at this event, where we've got Jason Hayden and Flash Smith securing himself some points in his very first, not only final, not only podium, but first place finish. What a way to end round 4 in style, with Matt Grice in second, and of course Philip Silk getting the third place trophy as well. Fantastic run for all involved in Pro-Am.
Matt Grice, what an incredible weekend right up until just the last round. You were also running in Pro, mate. This has been your best event to date, hasn't it?
Yes. Running in Pro and winning the battle in there, and we got second here at round 1. I really wanted that redemption against Flash, but being smashed in the face with hail as that storm came over, and you literally couldn't see a damn thing. It was crazy, but you know, just going to really help the points in the championship. I'm pumped to be here no matter what.
Gricey doing a great job to battle wild weather, and as we do have blue skies, we'll be heading into the Pro right after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Calder Park Raceway for round 4 of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. We've seen an incredible Pro-Am battle tree run until it's done, and now we are into the pointy end of the Pro Series, where we'll see Brad Toohey facing off against the local Michael Bonney, and Beau Yates going up against Patrick Barley, all the way down from the Northern Territory. Into that run now with Michael Bonney leading Brad Toohey. The sun is shining, but the track is still wet, and we're crossing our fingers for no more rain. Bonney right on that track edge as he runs through the mud river there out to the outside clip. Let's see how close he gets to the track edge here. Nice and wide through this centre section on the hairpin. That is a beautiful lead run from Michael Bonney. Brad Toohey just a car length or two behind.
As we can see, Michael Bonney really adapting to conditions here. These wet conditions are absolutely treacherous for the boys, but look, Michael set himself up there nice through that clipping zone. Good chase run there by Brad Toohey coming into the final later stages of the drift run, but again, Michael Bonney just setting himself up for a nice advantage there.
Let's switch him around. Toohey is in the lead with Michael Bonney in the chase. Big bobble there from Brad Toohey, although similar from Michael Bonney, who did have to straighten there to avoid contact with Toohey's car. Let's see as they come back through here. Nice transition. Toohey just that little bit late there to initiate drift, but coming through the final section there. Bit difficult one for the judges, but I think in his chase position, Brad Toohey straightening a little bit, combined with a few bobbles here with Bonney, yes, making some mistakes, but I'm leaning it towards Bonney.
Yeah, it's hard to call this one due to the fact that you can see the conditions are a little bit hard, and Bonney does a few little bobbles there due to Brad Toohey's line take. But as we can see, the judges have awarded Michael Bonney for the win.
Big result there, and on to another big battle where we have Patrick Barley chasing Beau Yates. That river getting shallower and shallower, but will we see more rain? Beau Yates clipping the outside barrier there with Barley right behind him. Both drivers coming nicely through this last hairpin here. Fantastic emulation from Patrick Barley, but Beau hitting every single clip clinically as we've come to expect.
Beau Yates has done a killer lead run here, setting himself up from word go right out to that outer clipping zone, not caring about the rear bumper of that Toyota Genuine's 86 car, right through to that clipping zone again, pushing it deep, right on the pedal there again. Barley chasing him right through on the door.
Now the positions will switch. It's Beau Yates' turn to chase Patrick Barley. Nice and tight there, which is more difficult than you'd think with these wet conditions. Switching back around here, Beau taking, as the judges have allowed, a bit of a shallower line there to maintain proximity, and Patrick Barley just tagging that barrier on the way through. That's a really difficult one to call.
Look, we can see Beau Yates pushing hard right up onto the door there of Patrick Barley, right to that outer zone, right through, getting that big BCL wing touching the clipping point. Looks like it's a bit hard in that Toyota Genuine 86 parts. You can see that bit of mud right over the windscreen there, but again, finishing right on the rear bumper there of Patrick Barley. Judges calling it a one more time.
That's huge. We're going to see these two run again right now, and Beau Yates is in the lead. Barley diving in tight, and I think there may have been a little bit of contact there, but Beau didn't seem phased. Both drivers coming through here. That Genuine Parts 8.6 just putting the power down, and that little Toyota rocketing away on that wet section there where Patrick Barley was just left behind a little bit.
Wouldn't be a good chase run without a beautiful lead run there by Beau Yates. A little bit of handwork there from Patrick Barley, correcting that rear end, keeping it nice and out there, trying to emulate the lines, but the cool, calm, collected Beau Yates sticking right out to that outer zone, losing his rear bar in one of the battles there, sending it right over that finish line. Massive angle, hands in the air there from Patrick Barley, now thrown into the lead there.
I love that style of entry with Barley throwing it down the bank, then right up the bank, but oh no, maybe a touch too aggressive, putting both rear wheels into the mud there. That, if it was two wheels, which we'll look again in the replay, would be a 0 for Patrick Barley, but Beau not dialing it back at all. He knows this has been a one more time, an aggressive battle, so he's tucking in there.
We can see big, quick handwork there from Patrick Barley, dropping it right off into the mud, two tyres out of the outer zone, pushing it way too deep into that turn one, and Beau just dialing it in right onto that rear bar, sending him, pushing him right through that clipping zone, and looks like Beau Yates has taken the win.
Big results there with Brad Toohey and Patrick Barley battling it out for third position, while Michael Bonney defends his home turf against Beau Yates for first. But first, let's head to the pits with J-Mac.
So just a quick word from Patrick Barley's crew. He's broken the front diff mount on the Winters. They've sent him anyway. We'll see how this shapes up.
Here we have it, our battle for third, with only one of these drivers able to step onto the podium and take home the trophy. It's all on the line now as Patrick Barley leads Brad Toohey. Beautiful on that outside clipping zone there, maybe just going a touch deep, Patrick Barley, but Brad Toohey, oh no, he's over-rotated on that slick infield surface and has found himself almost backwards into the tyres there. It looks like he's managed to get himself back underway, but that is a massive mistake for Brad Toohey.
Looks like Patrick Barley's found his speed there, giving a nice little love tap there to the outer wall. We can see him sending it right through here. Not much handwork, which is good to see. He had the car set up there, but unfortunately looks like that's where it all went wrong for Brad Toohey. Just coming up short, getting suckered in there by Patrick Barley with too much speed, and looks like he threw too much angle at it.
Ooh, a little bit of a straighten there from Barley in the chase, but Toohey laying down a relatively clean lead run here, going right out to the clips, and I think without the aggression on this entry, you know, there'd be no advantage.
Yeah, it's a hard one to call. As we can see, Brad Toohey absolutely on that judge line from word go, right to that outer clipping zone again, and Patrick on board here, we can see right up onto the door there, and look, that's a hard one to call, but Patrick Barley has taken the win there for third place.
He's going to be stoked with that, taking that third place trophy all the way back home to the Northern Territory. But here it is, our main event and the final battle where Beau Yates will lead Michael Bonney, two of the quickest cars in the field. Let's watch him go. Beau Yates entering just in front of Michael Bonney, who did enter earlier, and a very uncharacteristic mistake there for Beau Yates, who has dropped a tyre into the mud. Michael Bonney able to pull it up and avoid contact. Both drivers then pretty much nailing the final section of this run, but that early mistake there, he's gutted.
That's a hard one to call. You know, Mr. Beau Yates never, ever makes a mistake. And as we can see, it was like just coming with a bit too much pepper there on the outside and pushing the rear end of that 86 right off track. And that's what's caused Michael Bonney for that little straighten. But Bonney, unfazed by it, straight back up into a dive and straight back up into the door there, holding the angle. Didn't lose drift at all, which is good to see. Right over that finish line. Looks like he's going to have to take the advantage. And we're just going to throw down to J-Mac in the pits.
There's an amazing amount of information that you can take from the look in a driver's eyes as they come off that battle. And as I looked into Beau Yates' face through that open face helmet, you could see he wasn't happy. That doesn't mean that he's going to throw it all away. Watch out for Yates to look for redemption in this second portion of this battle out here on this Calder Park Thunderdome track right now.
It's down to the wire. The pits are hot. J-Mac is on the edge of his proverbial seat, and I'd say the whole crowd is as well. We've got Beau Yates chasing Michael Bonney here. Bonney with quite a nice entry there on what is a dry upper bank, into a wet lower bank, into a wet lower section, but then with a bit of dry near the outside barrier. The conditions of this track are all over the place. Both drivers doing quite well to keep it together, but you know, Bonney, yes, he was a little bit messy in the lead there, but Beau had a wheel off in the earlier run, Jay.
Exactly, yeah, and looking like he did take the advantage coming into his lead run. Little bit of a bobble there and a big touch up the wall there with a little straighten, but look, he didn't stop drifting, got straight back into it. And again, Beau Yates straight back up onto the door, unfazed, knowing that it all comes down to the chase and the pressure. But again, it's a bit hard one to call.
The win for round 4 goes to Michael Bonney!
There you have our round 4 pro podium. Patrick Barley taking the third place trophy home to the Northern Territory, with Beau Yates knocked off his usual top step by Michael Bonney, who's getting his first win after 2 years of flying the Victorian flag in the Hi-Tec Drift Allstars Series. What a result.
Congratulations. Mate, you look like you are absolutely numb. You have had it all today, haven't you?
Yeah, it's been a big day, and the changing weather conditions was hard to deal with, but yeah, pretty happy with the result.
You've done an incredible job, mate. Any problems mechanically with the car? Anyone you want to say thank you to?
Yeah, the C&D Motorworks team has done an awesome job in preparing the car, and it's been flawless the last 2 weekends, and massive thanks to the boys for coming out and supporting and helping. Without them, yeah, none of this would be possible.
Beau, you have cemented your position at the top of the championships table at this point in time. But still, runner-up is a great result. Not what you were looking for today, though.
Yeah, look, I just made a mistake in my lead run. Went 2 wheels off, so I can understand what the judges are saying. But it's straight to me 10-0 every day. But I was hoping to go a rerun, but look, the judges made the decision, and that's final. So, look, we're really happy with the car. It's been beaten from pillar to post this weekend, and the mixed conditions. And Bonney's on a roll. He got third in World Time Attack, and now first this weekend. So I'm really happy for him and the team, and they're all pushing hard. But little Paddy here, he really pushed me to a rerun in our top 4 there. So I'm really proud of what he's doing and the team, and it's good to have a bit of young talent come through and push the old guys like me. So
Patrick Barley, all the way from the Northern Territory. Congratulations, mate. How's it feel?
It's pretty incredible, like knowing the fact that my pop used to race here back in NASCAR Oscar days, and to step on the podium in a track that he used to race at, it's certainly a different feeling.
Mate, you had the biggest workload out of everybody today. Broken throttle cables, numerous one more times. It all got served up. You got a brilliant team around you, don't you?
Absolutely. My dad and Tony have been swinging spanners all this weekend for me, and actually the entire Hi-Tec series this year. And they do an incredible job from driving the car all the way from Darwin to obviously around Australia. But yeah, they're an incredible team with their speedway history behind them. Helps me out a ton.
Well done, mate.
Definitely feels good to get that winning feeling again. It's definitely been a harder season for me. Coming up against the Blaze Unit boys, I was always going to be hard up against it, but both guys drove killer, and yeah, it was good to battle with the boys. Against Bonnie, like, his lead lap was amazing for the conditions, so massive props to him. And then, yeah, Patrick Barley, his chase on me was epic. So, look, I think the right guys finished where they did. And Beau, look, what do you say about Beau? He's absolutely always there. Yeah, like, I'm super pumped, and try and build on it for the last round in 2 weeks.
There are our championship points for the end of round 4, just before the final, with Beau Yates having a dominating lead that I don't think anybody's going to be able to catch. But Matt Van Kirk and Scott Shembry surely will be trying, with Aaron Duar and Mo El Houli rounding out our top 5. The weather couldn't have been any more quintessentially Melbourne, Victoria than we had today. We had rain, we had hail, we had sunshine, we had more rain, more sunshine, patchy conditions, and it was just so good to see how well these drivers stepped up to the conditions. It was also fantastic to have Jake Kennedy joining me up here in the booth, mate. What an event.
What an event. These guys really turned it up for everyone today. Can't believe the weather that we did have. As you said, 5 seasons in one day. The boys turned up. Can't believe it. Well done to everyone involved.
Thanks for joining me, Jake. I've been Dave Carter, and we'll see you at the final round at Sydney Motorsport Park. Don't miss it.